what the diaspora can do to assist. Also, there's some demands. There's some demands that we are really pushing for the United Africa. In addition to that, we're pushing for an inclusion in the whole African Union in terms of the diaspora, that we're still Africans, and we want some type of inclusion, called it citizenship or whatever, or waiver of visas and so forth. And particularly, put on the table the Ghanaians, in Ghana, the Africans from the diaspora in Ghana is the largest group on the continent. There must be 5,000 to 6,000 people from the United States and the Caribbean who've been living there 15, 20 years, and they still have no citizenship.
Wow, okay.
So we really put that on the table, and for all dispersed, as Baba Dudley Thompson says, dispersed Africans, so that's what that conference will be about, in presenting our paper to the African Union.
Okay.
Because Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, is the headquarters of the African Union there. So that's what we'll be doing. And of course, we'll be doing some of the touring in Addis Ababa, in the Shashamene, which is the Rastafarian town there. We will visit them, And so that's what's happening with that. But Senegal is also planning a Black Arts Festival in December. And it's supposed to be a huge one. The last one was in Nigeria. This would be number 3 in terms of an international Black Arts Festival. The last one was in Nigeria in 1977.
Okay. And this one coming up is in?
It's going to be in Senegal.
Senegal?
Yeah.
Okay. What month?
December they're planning for.
Okay.
We hope that we can convince them to push it back to Black History Month, February, give it more time and a significant month to do it.
Okay.
But they have it planned for December. So we're also going to discuss how that could be promoted. And so this will be a huge festival, which will include all the international African luminaries. Mandela, they want to get Oprah Winfrey, and all kinds of musicians. There'll be symposiums. A lot of the intellectuals will be there. Dr. Karenga, Jeffries, Julius Garvey, and many of the scholars will be there, and Pan-Africanists for symposiums. Artists from around the world, visual artists, performing artists. All of this will take place over a 3-week period, in Senegal. So that is something else that's being planned.
You're very passionate about this, and I wanted to ask you, what motivates you to do this work, to do what you do?
Well, Africa motivates me, period. That's been the driving force. Like some of us say that, we have all this, and this is the case with a lot of Africans from the diaspora in the Caribbean, that we have never let the spirit of Africa leave us. There's something that the drum has always beaten since we arrived in chains in the Western world. And so that's where it all comes from. Some have forgotten, some have want to forget, some were just forgot about Africa, but there's some that has never forgotten about
Some
Africa.
that are still waking up.
Still waking up, yeah. Some are still waking up, yeah. Some are still waking up. But there's some that really has never. There was interesting piece in Roots. In Roots, you have to take it with a grain of salt. It's Hollywood production. But there was a scene in there where I think it was in Kunta Kinte that he had encountered because he's on the plantation, you know, and I think he was one of the last that came over, and so all the people had been there for a while, a few generations, you know, so they've been turned from Africans into colored people, you know, with no collective memory. And so he ran into someone, I think it was beating the drum or something, and he was curious, hey. And so when they spoke, and he says, wow, he said, you know, like I forget his exact words, but he was happy to see one who remembered who they were. And his question was, he said, what had happened to us? You know, because the people had forgotten who they were. So it was rare to find one who had not forgotten. And that's the case as history is uncovered, and in many books that I've read, I'm reading more, particularly one from Michael Gomez, who's really focused on that reversing sale and you know, just the history of what has happened to a lot of people, tracing groups of people, and you see that they have maintained a lot of this that people don't know about. Some of it was deliberately camouflaged. Some just kind of was absorbed, but it was still there. In some cases, it was more obvious than other cases. So it was never truly forgotten. So when people say they erased our history and our culture, it's not really true. It's true to a great extent, but it's not totally true, because many memories and things were preserved.